The UFC lands in Baku, Azerbaijan for the first time in history, and the card promises fireworks. A strong Eurasian presence headlines the event, with high-stakes bouts featuring surging contenders, debuting killers, and regional favorites. From relentless grapplers and calculated strikers to wild brawlers and technical wizards, UFC Baku is a showcase of styles, grit, and rising talent. Several matchups bring serious implications for divisional rankings, while others serve as litmus tests for hyped prospects and comeback stories. Expect violence, pace, and pressure, especially with fighters looking to represent their region on home soil. Let's break down the fights, the paths to victory, and where the biggest value lies. First up, we've got Hamdi Abdelwahab versus Usman off the Contender Series, and this one could get greasy real quick. Let's be real, a lot of people thought Hamdi got gifted a decision in his last fight. Yeah, he hit a slick takedown in round 1, but after that, man looked like he was fighting underwater. The gas tank absolutely disappeared. He turned into a walking punching bag with Olympic credentials. On paper, this should be Hamdi's fight to lose. He's an Olympic-level Greco-Roman wrestler. The pedigree is real, and Usman, he's shown he can be taken down. But here's the problem. Hamdi's cardio is a massive red flag. He's good for maybe 4 minutes, then it's panic breathing in full survival mode. Add in some past PED use, even more sketch. You can't trust this guy to push a pace past round 1 without falling apart. That said, I'm still siding with Hamdi. I think he gets it done early. Maybe a round 1 takedown, heavy top pressure, and a finish if he doesn't blow his gas tank. But if you're betting this fight, that plus 3.5 Usman hedge might be the sneaky move. Hamdi wins early or completely crumbles. No in between. Hamdi is the pick, but hold your breath after round 1. Next breakdown coming up, who wants the smoke? Azat Maksum is slick, well-rounded, talented, and still developing. But let's talk red flags. Charles Johnson took him down twice, and that's a problem when you're about to fight Tagir Ulanbekov. Tagir may not have Charles's speed or flashy striking, but what he does have is strong wrestling, elite control, and a grind-heavy style that makes opponents look worse than they are. Tagir is a classic Dagestani grinder. Once he gets his rhythm, he turns fights into slow, suffocating wars where guys can't breathe, can't move, and definitely can't score points. Azat's solid. He might land more on the feet. But can he keep Tagir off him for 15 minutes? That's the big question. It's not an easy fade on Azat. He's got tools. But stylistically, this feels like a rough matchup for him. If Tagir sticks to the game plan, level changes, pressure, cage work, he probably cruises to a close but clear decision. Azat will have moments, maybe make it competitive on the cards, but Tagir's control wins this one more often than not. Tagir is the pick, but depending on the odds, the best bet might be Tagir by decision or a live play if he drops round 1. Let's keep it rolling. Next fight up. This is low-level women's MMA. Historically volatile, unpredictable, and rarely a spot to bet heavy. That said, Irina Alexieva looks to have the edge. She's the more aggressive fighter, comes with a real sambo base, and thrives in messy grappling exchanges, even when she's on her back. That chaos might actually favor her against a striker like Claudia Saigala, who's less comfortable on the mat. Claudia brings volume and some power on the feet, but her defensive grappling is shaky. She lacks a strong wrestling base, and her get-up game is subpar. Against a pressure-heavy grappler like Irina, that's a recipe for getting stuck on the bottom and losing rounds. If Irina shows up in shape and sticks to her strengths, she has the skill set to win this, especially if she can force takedowns early. The big red flag here is Irina's layoff. Will ring rust show up? Has her conditioning improved? Those questions keep this from being a confident pick. Still, based on tape and style matchup, Irina Alexieva is the pick. But don't get cute here. No heavy bets. This is more popcorn fight than portfolio builder. On to the next one. Let's break it down. This is a low-level, closely matched fight between two flawed fighters. Melissa Mullins has the cleaner striking and a more measured, straightforward approach, which gives her a slight edge. On the other side, Daria Železniakova brings the heat with pressure, volume, and aggression. She's wild, dangerous, and constantly marching forward, which can easily sway the judges in a scrappy affair like this. The big question is whether Mullins will mix in wrestling. Daria's takedown defense is suspect, and if Melissa commits to getting it to the ground, she could slow the pace and bank rounds. The problem? Mullins' grappling hasn't always translated cleanly in MMA. Even with her edge on paper, she doesn't always capitalize on the right moments. That leaves a lot of uncertainty heading into this fight. Add in the fact that this fight's happening close to Daria's home turf, and you've got the potential for a weird decision if it goes the distance. Mullins is the pick. She's cleaner, calmer, and has more ways to win. But this is volatile, and the betting odds are too wide. Tread lightly. Let's move to the next matchup. This card's just getting started. This is a low-danger grinder-style matchup where the safest play is the over 2.5 rounds. Don't expect wild swings or early finishes here. This is likely going to be a slow-paced, control-heavy battle. Jun Young Park is the more well-rounded fighter. He's bigger, more consistent, and has faced tougher competition overall. But there's one hole in his game that could swing things the other way. Park's lack of takedown defense could be a real issue here. Ismail Nordiev, while inconsistent in the past, has the tools to win rounds through top control and wrestling. If he can score early takedowns and avoid gassing, this becomes a very winnable fight. Even though Park is the more proven guy, Nordiev's style is built to edge tight decisions, and he's definitely a live underdog in this spot. The pick is Park, but don't be surprised if it's ugly. The best bet here? Take the fight to go the distance or the over 2.5 rounds. It's the safest route in a matchup that feels more like a chess match than a brawl. Let's move on. More fights, more smoke. This one's a classic power versus Polish matchup. Ko hits like a freight train, but he's slow, stiff, and throws wild haymakers. If he lands, it could be night-night. But landing clean shots on someone like Oban Elliott isn't easy. Elliott is the far more technical striker, with sharper movement, better footwork, and a serious speed advantage. He's also more athletic and carries his pace well across 3 rounds. While Ko is always live for a big moment, Elliott has better cardio, cleaner combos, and superior cage IQ. The key here is avoiding the early storm. If Oban stays composed and sticks to his movement, this should be his fight to control and potentially dominate. Ko's kill shot power is dangerous, but it fades as the fight drags on, and Elliott's gas tank should shine. Pick Oban Elliott. Best bet, Oban Elliott moneyline or by decision, if you're chasing value. That KO threat is real, no doubt, but Oban's durability, movement, and skill set give him the edge over 3 rounds. This one's about staying smart, not getting caught, and racking up control time and clean shots. Ready for the next breakdown? This is a classic matchup between a more athletic, more skilled fighter in Mohamed Naimov and a gritty grinder in Grad who thrives on consistency. Naimov has the tools, fast hands, striking variety, and serviceable wrestling to win this clean, but there's a real concern. He sometimes coasts and fights down to his opponent's level, which is risky against a workhorse like Grad. Grad is tough, durable, and stays active. He brings a solid kicking game, underrated wrestling, and just enough pressure to win rounds if his opponent doesn't push the pace. If Naimov tries to manage the fight instead of taking control, Grad can absolutely steal it with volume, cage control, and grit. This could turn into a classic case of talent versus toughness, and toughness wins more often than you'd think. Pick Mohamed Naimov, but it's not a confident one unless you're certain he shows up focused. Grad is the kind of fighter who will keep coming, and if Naimov lets him stick around, it could be a trap. Best bet, avoid the money line unless it's in a parlay. Consider the over 2.5 rounds. Both fighters are tough, and this feels like a decision-heavy matchup. This matchup comes down to refinement versus raw danger. Nicholas Mata is explosive, fast, and dangerous with big power. He thrives on blitzes and big moments, but struggles to adjust mid-fight or win on volume. His path? Catch Sadikov clean early or swarm him during a slip. Nazim Sadikov brings a cleaner, more composed game. He manages range well, picks his shots smartly, and avoids chaos. His weakness? Sometimes he waits too long to get going, but if he stays sharp, he can control this fight with kicks, counters, and smart pressure. Speed edge, Mata. Skill and composure edge, Sadikov. KO threat, both, but Mata's is more sudden. Sadikov's is built over time. Pick Nazim Sadikov. He's the more polished fighter and should avoid the big shots while picking Mata apart. Just can't get reckless. Betting tip. Sadikov ML is good in parlays. Over 1.5 rounds is a solid look too. This is your classic wrestler versus striker with questions. Tofik Musayev is the more explosive and dangerous fighter, big power, flashy striking, and the kind of kill shot threat that can flip a fight in seconds. But there are real concerns here. He's been out for a long time, he's 35 now, and there's not much info about how sharp or prepared he is heading into this. Enter Miktibek Orolbai, a relentless wrestler with serious cardio, toughness, and the kind of grind-heavy style that breaks opponents over time. We saw it in the Rebecki fight. He doesn't go away, and he keeps coming. If Tofik doesn't land something big early, he's going to be in trouble. Pick Miktibek Orolbai. Betting tip. Lean Orolbai ML, but beware of the early KO threat. Stylistically, this could come down to 1 moment versus 15 minutes. Tofik can absolutely spark Orolbai early, especially with the crowd behind him. But if he doesn't get him out of there quick, the wrestling, top control, and pressure from Orolbai will likely start to snowball. This is one of those fights where the live bet after round 1 could be gold. If Tofik hasn't finished early, Orolbai likely takes over from there. This matchup feels like a fading contender versus a middling prospect, but even a declining Curtis Blades should have enough to beat Rizvan Kuniev. Blades' wrestling remains elite, and while he hasn't leaned on it lately, his speed, technique, and experience give him the clear edge here. Rizvan is a plodding, one-dimensional grappler with sloppy striking and no real explosiveness, especially now that he's seemingly off PEDs. That said, Blades' chin is always a concern, and Rizvan does throw from odd angles that could catch him if he's careless. Still, unless Blades completely falls apart, he should win this comfortably. Just don't trust it with your money. The pick is Blades, but the risk of a fluke KO or a low-output slog makes this a hard pass from a betting perspective. This is a classic clash of styles and range. On paper, logic sides with the more technical, battle-tested Fiziev, especially fighting at home. He's explosive, throws with intent, and has elite Muay Thai. But there are red flags. His chin looked compromised against Gaethje, and that wasn't long ago. Bahamondes brings a unique challenge with his freakish size, volume, and movement. If Fiziev gets drawn into another brawl, Ignacio's length and pace could break him down over time. Your gut might be onto something. This feels like a live dog situation. Fiziev is a safer pick on paper, but Bahamondes by decision or late finish is absolutely worth considering. No strong betting side here, but if you're playing, hedge with White D or over. Both guys are coming off absolute wars. Neither won, but both proved how tough they are. Jamahal needed that gritty showing. The narrative around his cringe personality was spiraling. While he didn't beat Jerry, he pushed through hell and reminded fans he can be exciting. Same for Khalil. Stood toe-to-toe with Pereira, didn't shoot once. If we get even a fraction of that version from both men, this could be wild. Jamahal Hill, former champ, lost the belt after tearing his Achilles. He's a tall, rangy striker with sharp boxing and great shot selection. A 7-3 striking differential speaks volumes. He doubles up opponents on strikes with high volume and accuracy. Solid kicks, clean boxing, and a 73% takedown defense he likely won't need here. Technical and dangerous. Khalil Roundtree, explosive Muay Thai striker. No takedowns in 16 UFC fights, but he doesn't need them. His game is raw power and speed. Great moving forward, less effective backing up. Against Pereira, he showed he belongs with the elite. This fight comes down to who dictates pace. Hill has the cleaner technique, but Khalil thrives in chaos, and this fight might get messy. Lean Khalil. Violence is coming. I'm leaning Khalil here. If the fight gets ugly, he's faster and hits harder. For Hill to win, he has to stick and move. Use the jab, keep range, box smart. But Khalil's pressure style makes that tough. I think he cuts through, gets in the pocket, and lands. Roundtree is the pick. The betting line is slowly shifting his way for a reason. That's a wrap for this week's breakdowns. If you enjoyed the insight, drop a like, share it around, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a pick. Let us know who your lock of the card is down in the comments. And as always, bet smart, not emotional. Catch you on the next one.